You're not the horse that's supposed to be the number one horse. So you always train to kind of be here to build the confidence in the other guy that's going. At what point did you say, these guys have no freaking clue who the hell I am. I'm a number one guy. Did that ever click in your mind where you were number two saying, I belong being number one?
Well, I think there was naturally a very competitive part of me, and I love that. And can I go back a little bit?
Of course.
To give you a little context too. So my freshman year in football, I didn't even play. Literally didn't play. Maybe 2 or 3 passes. The coach from the sideline screamed at me one time my freshman year, "Brady, you're moving in slow motion." And I was slow as shit. Still am. So going into my second year, like I said, the guy quit ahead of me, so I became the junior varsity quarterback. There were 3 teams in my high school. And I had a coach named Bob Vanal, Perry Carter, Joe Hessian at Sarah High School, and they were there for the football experience. They were having as much fun as the kids were. They didn't see it as varsity football. They were there to embrace the love of the game. And for the kids that weren't good enough to play on varsity, and they really took me under their wing. And we had so much fun that second year. I love my football experience, one of the great years of my entire life. I really started working hard with Tom Martinez to throw the ball better. My third year, I won the starting job in my high school. And I loved the sport so much that I stopped playing basketball and I just played baseball and football. But in the summers, I would go, and my dad, who was very available to me, with the greatest mentor, the greatest dad I could ever imagine, was so right there by my side to say, "Hey, Dad, I want to be a better football player." "Great, let's take you to the University of Arizona camp. Let's take you to the Cal Berkeley camp. Let's take you to the Stanford camp." This is when you just sign up and there's 1,000 other kids and you're just in a group, and that's just the way it was. But my dad was there to say, "Go for it, son." And if there was a blessing in my life that I would say, some of the things I blessed with, hard work, discipline, what I was also blessed with? Being very naive. I had no idea how hard it was. But I believed, because I was like, no, like I'm going to get better, and I'm going to be better. Well, going into my 4th year in high school, I was recruited, but not like a lot of the top kids. I was big. I was the size I am now, tall. I had a good arm. But there were a lot of other physical deficiencies that they saw. So I wasn't a high recruit. So it was a different era where, look, we're in the digital age now. That's not the way things worked back in 1994. We had to make VCR tapes with my dad in his office when I said, "Dad, we got to put together the most clips that I have." And this is when my dad would film the games. I mean, now it's like Channel 5 broadcasts every high school game in the area. This was my dad with a camcorder, and every time the ball was thrown, he'd be focused on me, right? And the ball would go this way, and he'd stand up, and the camera would go to the left, and he'd be watching, and he'd start jumping out, "Go!" So, of course, we missed every important throw that I had in high school. So we pieced together enough clips to go, "Hey, man, Tommy, where do you think you want to go to college?" And I was like, "I don't know, University of Illinois." And I was looking at a lot of maybe not top tier college programs. And in the end, I was like, "Well, yeah, just let's send one to USC. Let's send one to Michigan." And I was like, "Do you think we should send one to Michigan, Dad?" And he's like, "Yeah, may as well. You think you like it." Of course, I'm from California. Michigan, that's a long way from California. So I send these tapes out, and there's a little bit of buzz about me, and I start getting recruited. And I get these letters, and of course I'm like, wow, every day I'm getting these different letters from school saying, "Oh, we consider you a prospect, continue to keep up the good work." And I would file them all, in a file folder. And my high school counselor came up to me, and he's like, "Tom, we got to start applying to colleges." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm getting a scholarship. What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, we're going to apply to all these colleges." And funny story, I never applied to any college. But I actually got halfway decent through my 4th year in college that the momentum picked up. And I wanted to go. I got offered a scholarship to UCLA. And then they turned me away at the last minute because another kid signed before me. And I really wanted to go to USC. That was probably my first choice. But they didn't want me either. They signed another kid who was one of the top recruits on the West Coast. So I never forget these stories, by the way. These are hardcore ingrained. So then I went to Michigan. I show up. They walk me into the big house. And it's called the Big House for a reason. There's 102,000 people in there on a college football Saturday. Now it's expanded to like 112,000. It's incredible. And I walked through the tunnel at midfield, and they go, from Sarah High School in San Mateo, Tom Brady. And I looked up and I was like, I want to go to fucking school here. So I'm there for 2 days. I don't talk to my parents the whole time. We didn't have cell phones. And I get to the airport in Detroit, and I call my dad, Collect, and I go, Dad, I think I know where I want to go to college. And like he started breaking down, and he's like, what? Leaving to go all the way back to Michigan. And he said, are you sure you want to go? And I said, Dad, if I want to be the best, I got to beat the best. And this is where the best are. So I showed up on campus as a freshman in the fall of 1995. I was the 7th quarterback on the depth chart. There were 6 other guys ahead of me. And Michigan is a great college. There's, it competes for national championships. And I wanted to be a great football player. If I was going to be a great football player, I wanted to compete against these other guys.